This sweater is so cute, but it's so itchy, and I feel like I want to crawl out of my skin right now, so I'm gonna have to record this really fast so I can change. Hi book friends, welcome back to Books and Tea Time, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today I'm doing a video that I hadn't really anticipated doing, but I have seen so many other booktubers making like their 2021 reading goal videos, and it made me want to record one all about fantasy. So today we're going to talk about fantasy series I want to start in 2021. I didn't count, so I don't know how many there are. There's no way I'm going to finish all of these series in 2021. They're long, epic, and intense fantasy series. They aren't in any particular order, so what I want you to do is comment down below and tell me which one I should read first, because I can't decide. So I want you to tell me what to do. So before we get started, I have two things that I want to announce or disclose, whatever. First things first is that tomorrow the Blackathon YouTube and Instagram challenges, like there's like a 7-day daily challenge, they start tomorrow. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, head downstairs to the description box and follow me on Instagram, because I'll be partaking in all of those challenges throughout the week on Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed and you want to see my vlog where I do all of the YouTube related challenges, make sure you subscribe so that you can see that probably 2 weeks from now. The second announcement is I'm going to link some of the videos down below of other YouTube creators that have done a very similar video that I really love. I have a list here on my phone, so let's get started. Let's get the most ambitious and difficult ones out of the way first, shall we? So I have two books here that I am very hesitant to start for basically the same reason, and that reason is that the series is still coming out, or the author has trouble writing the subsequent books, or the last book in the case of one of these. So I'm very impatient, and I know that is a virtue I share with a lot of people, but when it comes to TV shows or book series, anything, I want to wait until everything is out, it's published, it is, you know, live on like whatever medium streaming service I use, and then I binge it at my own pace. But my least favorite thing is falling deeply and passionately in love with characters and like writing styles, and then I have to wait years, months, until I get the next like volume. You know, I just like to consume my stuff at my own pace, and I hate waiting. So with that said, the first book that I am going to talk about is The Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. As of today, February 13th, 2021, there are 4 books out in this series, and they are all incredibly beefy, just like this. So while I want to start this, I'm hesitant because it's going to take him forever. I think he said that this is like a 7-book series or an 11-book series. I don't remember which number, but it's a very long series, and he takes a long time writing them, and they're really long. So what I don't want to happen is for me to read the first 4 and then have to reread them before the 5th one comes out because I forgot everything. But at the same time, everyone tells me to read this series. My dad, I have multiple friends that tell me, everyone and their mom on Bookstagram and Booktube worship these books and love Brandon Sanderson, and I feel like I'm missing out. I don't know what to do because I want to start the series, but I don't want to reread like 1,000 pages per book for 4 books, and then have to do that again with the first 5 before the 6th one comes out, and again for the 7th, and then just caught in this cycle, and it sucks. Either talk me out of it or talk me into it in the comments if you feel so inclined. But all I know about this is it's an epic, amazing, beloved fantasy story that it's told from multi-POV, and I'm assuming there's a lot of really in-depth magic system and world-building stuff because it's Brandon Sanderson. So yeah. The second book on my list is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and this is a similar problem to the Brandon Sanderson problem because from what I understand, this is a trilogy, and the author still, after a really long time, hasn't written the 3rd book, and a lot of people are worried he's not going to write the 3rd book. This is another book that my dad highly, highly, highly recommends to me. It's so, so beloved in the Booktube fantasy community, and I've heard really great things, so I want to read it, but I'm nervous about the fact that there isn't a third book out and may never be a third book. This book, I believe, is about a man in like a tavern or something, and like it starts with him talking to someone. It says, the story of a hero told in his own voice. It is a tale of sorrow, a tale of survival, a tale of a man's search for meaning in his universe, and how that search in the indomitable will that drove it gave birth to a legend. So I guess it's a really famous, like almost mythical legend, and like this man who turns into that legend is telling his life story. Next up is, I believe this is a YA series, but that is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Specifically, I know that Reagan from Peruse Project absolutely loves this trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. I think this takes place in like a sort of utopian-esque world where like diseases have been eradicated, there's no war, no misery, humanity has conquered even death, and everyone is immortal, I guess. And because of like population control, there are these people called scythes who are trained to kill and choose who to kill based on their training to maintain the like population. It's a really interesting concept. It intrigues me, so we'll see what happens. Next, we have a book by an author that I just want to read so many books from in 2021, and that is N.K. Jemisin, and the book that I am talking about, or the series that I want to start first, is the Broken Earth trilogy, and the first book is the 5th season. So I actually started this a while ago. I'm only like 50 pages in, and I do really want to pick this one up first, if not like in the first couple of months of this year, because I've already started it. But N.K. Jemisin is an incredible, beloved, renowned fantasy and kind of sci-fi a little bit. I've seen so many people love and rave about it. And I know it's a multi-POV, but basically the tagline is, this is the way the world ends for the last time. So I guess there's like a cycle of like world-ending catastrophe and natural disaster, but this time supposedly is like the last time. So you're kind of following the characters whose lives are changed by these disasters and just in this world. That's all I really know. I'm really interested in the concept of like ecological natural disaster as like almost a character or a driving force in this world, and like the driving like plot device. And I know that N.K. Jemisin is great, and I really believe that I'm going to absolutely love and devour the series once I get started, like actually started, and not only like 40 pages started. Next is another series that I think technically qualifies as YA, but it might be new adult, and that is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is another series that I just feel like I see everyone, literally everyone, on Booktube. When they read it, they rave about it. I love the covers of these books and how each one has a different like color theme. Like the first one's red, it looks like the second one's blue, the third one's green, and I believe the 4th book just recently came out, and that's the conclusion. So I really like a series that is already completed. Same with the 5th season and Scythe. I think all of these are completed series. This is a Roman-inspired fantasy story, and it's multi-POV. Multi-POV is a really big plus for me. I love multi-POV stories. I feel like it is the best way to fully immerse the reader in a really rich and large fantasy world. So I love multi-POV stories for that reason. The back of this says, under the Martial Empire, defiance is met with death. Layla and her family do not challenge the Empire. They've seen what happens to those who do. But when her brother is arrested for treason, she is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them from within the Empire's greatest military academy. There, Leia? It's not Layla. I'm sorry. I don't know why reading aloud makes me stutter, but it does. There, Leia meets Elias, the school's finest soldier, I'm done. I'm not even going to try and read it anymore. There's spying, there's battling. From what I hear, there's an angsty love story. I'm intrigued. I'm sold, and I really want to pick this up soon. So yeah, we're done. Last book that I have a physical copy of is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Another book. I mean, all of these books are really popular, obviously, and if a fantasy booktuber recommends them, I take their word for it because I love fantasy. So this is another really, really popular, really, really beloved story. The story opens when our main character, Rin, who is an orphan, takes and passes this really, really difficult test. The back says that being a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south is not easy in Sinigard, the most elite military school in Nikan. Targeted by rival classmates for her color, poverty, and gender, Rin discovers that gods long and dead are very much alive, and that she possesses a lethal, unearthly power and aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism that could be the weapon the Empire desperately needs. I love, love, love when gods are characters or mythology enters the space. I'm really excited to read this book. It's a completed series. It's got magic. It's got gods. It's got academic exams, academic school vibes. Now we're moving over to the books that I do not own. So I've got my list here on my phone. The first one is a series that I just recently learned about. I have never heard of this series before, but I recently subscribed to Q&TG, which is a channel with two guys who love books, anime, and video games. And I love all of those things too, especially books and video games. And they are freaking hilarious. I watched one of their videos and I could not stop laughing, and then I ended up binging like 5 or 6 of their videos, and they read a lot of fantasy. They have read a lot of fantasy books that I've read and loved. They've read a lot of the books on this list actually, and they recommended, or they talked a lot about a series called the Cradle series by Will Witt. The series is called the Cradle series, and the first book is called Unsold. And they seem to really like it, and it's a very long fantasy series. I think there are like 7 or something books, but I really like epic fantasy, and I think they said that the last book is coming out soon. But it says, sacred artists follow 1,000 paths to power, using their souls to control the forces of the natural world. Lyndon is unsold, forbidden to learn the sacred arts of his clan. When faced with a looming fate he cannot ignore, he must defy his family rules and forge his own path. I mean, first off, in just that short description, we've got artistry, we've got natural world kind of magic system vibes, which reminds me a little bit of like N.K. Jemisin, but also a little Brandon Sanderson, which sounds really cool. Someone has to forge their own path, the sacred arts of their clan. Like, there's so many buzzwords that are really attractive, and something that I like is, even though it's a very long series, the books they said are between 300 and 400-ish pages, so it sounds very doable, and I want to check it out. So the first book is Unsold. I'm going to try and get my hands on a copy soon, and I'll let you guys know how I feel about it. I have their channel linked down below. They are freaking hysterical, and I think they're my new favorite channel that I have found in 2021 thus far. So yeah, follow them. Next is the Trail of Lightning series by Rebecca Roanhorse. I believe the first book is also called Trail of Lightning. Yes. Oh, excuse me. The series is called the Sixth World series, or trilogy. And the first book is The Trail of Lightning. Oh my god. Is The Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. So I read Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse at the end of 2020, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So good. And I want to read more by Rebecca Roanhorse to get me through to when the next book in the Black Sun series comes out. I believe there's also gods in this one. Yes, it says, while most of the world has drowned beneath the sudden rising waters of a climate apocalypse, yes, the gods and heroes of a legend walk together, but so do monsters. I love monsters, I love gods and heroes walking together. That's super awesome. Again, I love when gods are characters. The idea of apocalypse is really, really cool, and I'm digging the front cover. So I have very high hopes for the series because I love Rebecca Roanhorse, and I already trust her with my soul, my reading soul, so I'm ready to go on another journey with her, if you know what I'm saying. Next up, we have 3 more, is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. But here's my problem, is that I've heard you're supposed to read the Farseer trilogy first because they take place in the same world, but I'm not really that interested in reading the Farseer trilogy. Ship of Magic I've heard is better and it sounds better, so if you are a Robin Hobb fan, tell me what to do in the comments below. Is it okay if I just start with Ship of Magic? Should I just read the first 3 books and then commit to an entire 6 books in 2021? I don't know. I'm divided, but I'm not entirely opposed to starting with the Farseer trilogy. I just am more attracted to the Ship of Magic one as of right now. So yeah, live ship traders, question mark. Next we have The Bone Season. I don't even know the name of the author. Give me a second. I am a trash booktuber, by Samantha Shannon. Joel from Fictional Fates did a video where he read this because this is one of Books with Leo's favorite books, another booktuber, and they both loved it and gushed about it, so I'm really interested in reading it because they both love it so much, and again, I trust Joel with my heart and my soul when it comes to reading, and he seemed to really like it, but it says in the description, the year is 2059. 19-year-old Paige Mahoney is working in the criminal underworld of Scion, London, based at Seven Dials, employed by a man named Jackson Hall. Her job? To scout for information by breaking into people's minds? What the hell? For Paige is a dreamwalker, a clairvoyant, and in the world of Scion, she commits treason simply by breathing. Oh, yeah. Now I remember why I added this to my list such a long time ago and why it's been in the back of my head. I love, like, psychological stuff, so the idea of clairvoyance and entering people's minds. One of my absolute favorite video games of all time is Psychonauts. I'll have a picture here, but it's like the same concept. You go into people's minds and you help them like fight their inner demons and stuff like that. It's so freaking cool. It's like the best concept ever, and this book reminded me of that, which is why I have it on my list. So honestly, this one is calling to me the most, so I might pick this up right after the 5th season, but again, help me decide the order below. Last but not least, we have Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I am reading the Book of Phoenix by Nnedi Okorafor for a class this semester, and she is another author that I have heard incredible things about and that I want to read a lot more from this year, and for the most part, her books are really short. I really value a fantasy author who can write a good book that's only like 200 pages, you know? It can be done, people. It can be done. I'm just kidding. I love long fantasy, but I also love short fantasy. So I'm going to try out the Binti trilogy by Nnedi Okorafor, and hopefully that'll open the gateway to a lot of other books like Akata Witch and that series, and Who Fears Death, which is the sequel to the Book of Phoenix, and things like that. Let me just read the little snippet here for you guys. Her name is Binti, and she is the first of the Himba people ever to be offered a place at Umaza University, the finest institution of higher learning in the galaxy. I like galaxy, that implies a lot of science fiction stuff. But to accept the offer will mean giving up her place in her family to travel between the stars among strangers who do not share her ways or respect her customs. Because we've got science fiction, traveling in space, probably some alien stuff going on, but also that internal struggle with having to leave your family and be around people who may not understand your cultural heritage, your custom, the traditions that you observe and respect and things like that. So I'm really excited for this. Again, it's finished, it's short, it's by Nnedi Okorafor, who I've heard incredible things about. So after I read the Book of Phoenix, I'll update you guys and let you know about what I think of it. But that is the last fantasy trilogy that I want to start, keyword start, not finish, in 2021. That completes this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Bye!